So going to be ripping through daily bias for today on NQ. So starting on the 4 hour, we have a couple prominent draws of liquidity. So this is an hourly draw of liquidity that just got swept. But 4 hour, we have these highs that are untapped. We have these new highs that formed yesterday during New York session. And then we also have these lows that formed in between New York session and London session. So these are prominent draws of liquidity. Obviously, we're going to be looking for these ones right here. These ones up here probably won't be tapped for probably not until next week, obviously, honestly. So I don't see price ripping up that much today, but maybe it will. I don't know. So we are going to, or I mean, maybe it could. Whatever. Anyways, these are the draws of liquidity that I am looking for on the higher time frames. There's no like real imbalances or anything. We do still have this one here. This one got completely filled in yesterday. So we do have a bullish fair value gap on the 4 hour right here. That price I could definitely see tapping into, and it already has actually. We'll see. I would wait for this liquidity sweep to happen anyways down here. I wouldn't go off this hourly draw of liquidity. If there's an hourly draw of liquidity here and a 4 hour I blow it, I'm gonna wait for the 4 hour draw of liquidity to get hit. I'm not gonna wait for the hourly. Anyways, it's only 8:40, so there's not even any trades to be or any way I'm entering. So scaling down to the hourly, we do have a couple really nice order blocks that I was looking at. So we have this one right here. This one's super nice bullish order block that we were in. Price is just dicking around in it right now, anyways. And then I would have rather see one a little bit closer into here, but we might generate one moving down this way. Anyways, we could see a smaller time frame order block over here. So that's kind of like what I'm looking for in that regard here. So obviously our prominent draws of liquidity being these highs, and then this low right here, which is a big draw of liquidity on the hourly at least. So scaling down to smaller time frames. This is on the 5 minute. We're not really generating too many imbalances, and any that we have are pretty much getting filled in. This is the most recent one right here. We have this 5 minute bearish for value gap where price might close above, and price close above probably wouldn't be a too bad of a trade to completely scalp. Go on the 1 minute. Yeah, in the 1 minutes, I wouldn't say that's a closure above, but 1 minute almost closed above it. So wouldn't be a terrible trade to take. This was a pretty instant reaction. Obviously, price hovered around here for a few minutes, but so bias is going to be long again today, like yesterday. Yesterday, my bias was completely correct. That was kind of sweet. But yeah, yesterday my bias was smoking hot. So yesterday, this was like exactly what I was looking for yesterday too. We had this hourly draw of liquidity, which this actually happened to be a 4 hour draw of liquidity as well here yesterday. And we see price swept it really smooth and had a really nice move up. So, and it was, I targeted some internal ranges of liquidity that were somewhere like up in here maybe. I don't exactly know where it was because I knew price was going to draw towards this, but it didn't quite hit it. But price is going to eventually end up hitting this. So we might see a sweep of these 4 hour lows and get a huge rally up today. But this is literally setting up like relatively close to yesterday. So um, I mean that's pretty much it for daily bias. These videos aren't super long because I only go through um, or NQ, but I could go through ES too. ES more or less the same story. In the 4 hour, we have price seems to be a little bit closer to these draws of liquidity up here, these lows and these highs. This was left yesterday. This was left, and that could have been yesterday too. It's kind of hard to tell. This little chart doesn't do too much for me. Hourly, we're seeing more or less the same thing. We have that order block that's already been tapped into. If this order block, but it's farther away from that draw of liquidity, so I would honestly hope another maybe a smaller time frame order block would generate, uh, be formed, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, uh, keeping an eye out on both. Um, both things, ES and NQ, tend to be super important too because if ES sweeps its liquidity already, the odds are NQ is going to be doing the same thing really soon. So, but make sure these are like the same time frames are lined up. Don't like be saying ES swept this liquidity, but it was like a 5 minute draw of liquidity, and then NQ, the one you have marked out, is 4 hours. So these are both 4 hour draws of liquidity. So I'll be keeping an eye on those because if ES already makes that move, odds are NQ is about to, or you completely missed it. So that's the advice for today. Gonna be looking for longs here, if anything. Definitely a long day. It's setting up like yesterday.